Okay. Do you want me to disable the what is it called? The waiting room so you don't hear that noise?
No, it's fine. Oh, you mean just have them come straight in?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Awesome. AI is saying, welcome everybody. We're just giving everyone a few extra minutes to catch anybody who's running late at the end of the school day today.
Now I say that, now I've got to remember how I did it last time. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I don't know how to get the sound.
It's okay.
Oh, here it is. Got it.
Hi there, Kim.
Hello.
Hi. Kayla, do you want to go ahead and kick us off?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Okay.
So welcome everybody. Thank you for attending our late afternoon session on portfolio. My name is Kayla Mack. I'm the Associate Administrator in the Office of Graduate Success. And I will let Jeff introduce himself.
Hi. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Jeff McClellan. I'm the CEO of StartSOLE. I'm excited to talk to you about PortfoliOH today.
Right. So I just wanted to share a little background to kind of level set on why we are here today. So Portfolio is a digital platform that really helps empower students to document, validate, and showcase their work-based learning experiences, connecting those skills that they are developing directly to career pathways, while also providing educators, employers, third-party intermediaries with tools for tracking and assessing students' growth through their experiences. And so, Job and Family Services, in partnership with Monster Government Solutions, contracted with StartSOLE to integrate the portfolio's work-based learning tracker into Ohio Means Jobs K-12 student profile. And this initiative is in direct alignment with the Department of Education and Workforce's overarching goal to equip Ohio's K-12 kids with high-quality career exploration and planning experiences. And so, as I stated, that this helps integrate the streamlining of documentation of work-based learning experiences. If students are in an internship, job shadow, you name it, this has a diversity of access and options that can really help empower students to take charge of their future by providing them with that tangible evidence of one, their skills and their achievements to help us again illuminate their abilities and prepare them for the future job market. So with that, I will pass it back to Jeff.
So just to level set as we go into the main portion of this webinar, which is to actually show you how the tool works and start to help you understand how it might be valuable to you in your environment. And I just want to take a second and reflect back on the Ohio Career Connections framework. And as we talk about work-based learning, we all know work-based learning typically starts at 10th, 11th grade range when kids are well in the way to the career planning phase. And just wanted to put that there because when we think about the process that kids go through to get to the point where they're implementing work-based learning in their own career journey, they've typically had some type of assessment of their interests and aptitudes. They've gone through career fairs, lunch and learns, those types of like exposure events. They've probably done some type of building connections events, maybe like a boot camp or a job shadowing. And so they've had a sequence of experiences that gets more and more intense the deeper down the process you go. And what we know is that when this process works, kids get to work-based learning and get to graduation with a clear understanding of what it is they want to do after high school. We also know that while this funnel looks really clean and orderly, a lot of kids like pop out of this funnel at different points because they had a boot camp experience and all of a sudden they thought they wanted to really go into the health careers field, and all of a sudden they're not sure about that anymore, and they don't really know um, what to do next. So Portfolio helps them document their experiences in a way that allows them to see how the skills that they're developing make them more aligned with lots of different types of opportunities that are out there. The people that are involved in this process, obviously students and parents, and what do they want? They want agency and understanding of the process. Kids want to be able to feel like they're more in control of the journey of the process. Parents want to be able to understand what their child's opportunities are, and provide them with support along the way. Districts and schools, we need tools that help manage this process. If we're going to have personalized plans for students and they're all going to be doing work-based learning in these different ways, we need a way to manage that so that we can connect the right students with the right opportunities, so students can find and explore opportunities on their own. And so that at the end of the day, when we're documenting things at the school level, we can make sure that we're adequately documenting work-based learning hours, OMJ readiness, seal completion, other things like volunteer hours, and other things that you'll see you can document, IRCs, and other things on the platform. Third-party intermediaries, which we use the term third-party intermediaries for organizations like your BACs, your ESCs, any NGOs that are really kind of like sitting outside of the school and trying to help the schools bring more business opportunities to the students, or trying to bring, help businesses bring their opportunities to the students. And these third-party intermediaries need ways to coordinate these exchanges. So if a business comes to a third-party intermediary on the platform and that intermediary works with multiple school districts, then the business opportunity is going to go into the third-party intermediary and out to the school districts that have agreed to a partner relationship with the intermediary. And then at the other end of this stakeholder process are businesses. And ultimately, at the end of the day, they want access to a qualified workforce. And the tool helps businesses understand how the activities that they create are utilized by the students that are engaging in them. It also helps the businesses to be able to see the skills that are important to the business, where those skills are growing inside of their region. Now, it does that without violating any of the student data privacy. That's very important to us at StartSOLE and to all of you as well. So you'll be able to find our student data privacy policy at the consortium and download that and complete it if the pieces that you need to get approval for your district to use the tool. But how does Portfolio actually work? So we know who's benefiting from it, but how does it work? It really starts with this notion of students submitting evidence of their experience tied to skills that they just demonstrated. And so even though it's the second thing on the slide here, evidence submission by students is really kind of like the main element of this. So student documents evidence of their work-based learning. Maybe the work-based learning coordinator has instructed kids to document their learning at the end of the week, or maybe it's every 2 weeks, maybe whatever it is, students are documenting their work-based learning experience, and they're connecting it to OMJ readiness seal skills. So once the evidence is documented, then it slides into this verification phase. And verification on the platform can be done by people in the school that can credibly acknowledge that the student demonstrated the skill and completed the hours that are on there. But verification can also be done by people outside of the school environment as well. So these third-party intermediaries that sometimes are knowledgeable and able to verify student work are invited to participate in that process, as are businesses along the way. And then everything kind of culminates in dashboards and tracking that help students see how the progress they're making is helping them to progress towards other opportunities, meet graduation requirements, and align with future career pathways. At the dashboards for the schools help the schools understand and track the number of kids with work-based learning hours, the number of hours they have, the kids who completed OMJ seals, and all the things related to those that are requirements for you, in terms of reporting to the state. And so that's really kind of like the core of the process. Sometimes this evidence student submits happens outside of a designed activity. Other times there's an activity created on the front end that actually kind of like controls the way that the student uploads their evidence. So, a student might be in a pre-apprenticeship program, and because we know things about what they're going to do there, an activity is created for the pre-apprenticeship program, and now students who are participating in the pre-apprenticeship are actually responding to the assigned activity to generate their evidence, and then the process continues to verification and tracking from there. So that's basically kind of at the core. That's how Portfolio works. I've mentioned skills several times. What we know at StartSOLE and the way Portfolio works is that every time a student documents something, whether it's work-based learning or community service or just some career-connected learning experience that they had somewhere along the line in their school experience, they're always connecting it back to at least one skill. And the core skills on the platform are the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal skills. So any of you that are on this webinar today, if you went through the process and started utilizing this resource, immediately when you get on, you're going to see all of the OMJ Readiness Seal skills. Now, there's ways to add industry recognized credentials that your students are working towards, and there's ways to add other things too. But at the core, the OMJ Readiness Seal skills are there. And every time a student uploads evidence, I probably have said this 5 times already, but every time a student uploads evidence, they're connecting that evidence to at least one of these skills. If you look at the screen here in front of you, and I'm going to get to the actual clicking into the demo here in a second, but if you look at this, the way the OMJ Readiness Seal shows up, you'll notice here that it's 53%. This is the percentage that the student has met of the requirements to obtain each one of the skills, because the student has demonstrated and verified enough reliability evidence to have completed the entire skill. And if you look at professionalism here, you'll notice that the inside bar is not totally connected to itself back here. So this skill is only partially completed for the student. So the OMJ skills complete as progress is made. As progress is made on the OMJ skills, the OMJ seal progress adds up, and the student sees where they're at in the process. These same skills are also applied to business opportunities or third-party intermediary opportunities in the region. And as the student documents their skills, behind each one of these is a set of skills that the student has also met. This slide shows most of them at 100%, but as I get into the live demo part of this, you'll see a little bit more of what's behind here. But basically what's happening here is the business is saying, we have these opportunities, and students who have these skills are aligned with the types of people we would want to know about this opportunity. So as the student documents their skills, they see opportunities from businesses that their skill set aligns with. And then here's a sample student dashboard. And again, I'm not going to spend much time here on the screen version of it, because I'm going to take you from here right into a student on the platform.
I gotta write this down.
Kayla, have we had any questions come in?
I have not seen any as of yet.
Okay. So I'm in a demo school district now called Lake Erie Perch and Walleye, and I'm actually going to open a demo student account up here. And you'll notice right away that the student has one assignment that's been assigned to them already. I'll show you in a second where the assignments come from. And they haven't demonstrated and verified any evidence yet. But let's just say that this is a junior student who's in a work-based learning experience as part of their CBI course or their CBI piece. This student has is told to document their work-based learning hours on the platform. So they go over here, they click add evidence, and then immediately they're given the option of choosing between 3 different types of evidence to submit. They can add just text evidence, they can add evidence with a web link, or they can upload a file. Typically, with this type of work-based learning, kids are uploading timesheets or sharing timesheets with their work-based learning coordinator or their CBI instructor or someone. So we're just going to pick upload here. I'm going to go straight to the middle, and I'm going to upload my my sample timesheet here. So now I've uploaded my timesheet. I'm going to just put in here work hours, week of October 6th, 2025. Then the student is going to select the skills that they demonstrated that week. I'm just going to say I demonstrated discipline and I demonstrated punctuality. And then the question is, how did you demonstrate discipline and punctuality? The student answers the question here. I have one that I made earlier today. It's different skills, but I'm just going to put the same reflection in here from ChatGPT. Then the student says how much time they spent documenting or doing the work-based learning. I'm going to say 10 hours. They add the location. So I'm just going to say Giant Eagle. Let's use the one in Columbus here. And then down here, you see this box that says evaluator. Here, the student has the option, and this is typically directed by the school-based person, whether they want the student to do this or not. But this gives the student the option of adding an external evaluator to this evidence process. So if the student wanted to add the supervisor from Giant Eagle and that person was approved already, you'd go down here and you'd find that person on the list. They'd click that person's name, and then that person would be part of the evaluation process. If they don't find their person on the list and they want to add them, they just go up here, add. They find the organization, they add the person's name and email address. I'll get to that later, but that actually then is how we invite external evaluators into the process. So the student submits their evidence. Every time they submit something, whether it's from the open evidence process or from an activity, after they submit it, they're asked how much they enjoyed the experience of the hours of work they just did. They put in a little bit of a narrative there, and they hit next. So now this is the student's evidence that's submitted onto the platform. Now that this Kayla,
Oh, we got it. Yeah, we got
cool.
a couple questions. Some I was able to answer directly. Somebody was asking, how do we get access to the tool? I shared in the chat a link to the OMJK12 landing page at the Department of Education Workforce, where it provides resources for Portfolio. So for teacher's guide on using Portfolio and how to get started, and the email address that you can connect to be an administrator to start the process for your school or district. And then somebody was asking about being a work-based learning coordinator. That is a position that would be defined at the local level. Doing this work does not, it's not just only work-based learning coordinators who can facilitate putting in activities on the platform. We were just sharing of the many roles an individual can have. Work-based learning coordinator is one of those.
Yeah, thank you. And we'll cover near the end. We'll cover some more how you get started with the platform. Okay, so the student has documented their evidence. Now, because the student documented, it doesn't mean it's automatically verified on the platform. An adult that's credible in terms of understanding that what the student did has to evaluate that evidence. And so, I've been using the term work-based learning coordinator. And as Kayla mentioned, that's just a term I'm using as one of the roles that you might have in your school. It might also be like the pathway teacher. It might be, a school counselor, whoever is like responsible in your environment for approving and managing work-based learning is one of the people who could evaluate this work. And there may be other people in the school. So I'm going to now go back in on my evidence tab here. and I'm going to find the work here. This is the work that was submitted by the student. I'm evaluating the work. I come in, I see their timesheet here. I see what the student wrote about how they demonstrated their skills. And then over here on the right is where I have to do my work to evaluate it. So the first thing I see is this work-based learning? Yes. Since the student added it, we don't know what type of work-based learning it is. So I'm going to check this box, and then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, this is job placement and internship. The next question is it worth 10 hours of evidence? The answer is yes. This one's asking whether or not this piece of evidence is community service. The answer here is no. And then I just have to look at this evidence and decide, did the evidence hit at least one of these look-fors for each of the skills on here? This one says evidence of recognition by supervisor for setting an example of personal behavior. I'll say that. And then evidence of reliable attendance. So now that I've checked those boxes, I can hit submit evaluation. And now this piece of evidence that I've just verified on the platform is also verified on the student side. So if I refresh the student account here, you'll see now the work-based learning hours have gone up to 10. You'll also see that the OMJ readiness seal is now at 8%. And if I click on this, you'll remember the student documented punctuality and discipline. You'll see that the verified evidence is growing that inside bar. On these two skills, you'll also see it's growing the total percentage completion of the OMJ readiness seal. And then the student can, interact with this. And depending on how you've set it up for them to use it, the student can actually add any evidence they want to the platform too. So they can go in here and say, I really demonstrated reliability when I was participating as the captain of the marching band. So I click here and I add that evidence, and those types of things can be verified on here too. Now, obviously that would not count as work-based learning, but it still could count as evidence of the OMJ skill. You'll also notice below here, there's other opportunities that are now in progress for the student because the student documented these two skills in the context of their work-based learning. Wherever those skills show up on the opportunities, that the student is now also, it indicates the student is making progress towards alignment with these opportunities as well. So the student may not even be thinking about opportunities at Lincoln Electric, but now they look at this and they see that their skills have started to align them with the opportunities that Lincoln Electric is presenting to students. And so that's how that part works. Over here, a student can see the skills that they're in progress on. If they click view all, they're going to see the entire list of skills available to them, and they'll see the skills progress here. Now, I did this to point out to you too. I said earlier that the IRCs, it's also possible to track IRC progress on the platform. So you'll see in this demo school, there's quite a few different IRCs that are available to students in this school. And IRC documentation is a little different than OMJ skill because in most cases, they have to take a test or prove something that it's basically either they passed it or they didn't. So the look for an IRC is proof of successful completion of the course. And when they do this once, then this whole skill tile will light up like the OMJ ones did. So that's work-based learning tracking from an open-ended perspective. I'm going to come back now to the school side, and this is my school dashboard, and immediately you'll see that here we've got 23 students who are participating in work-based learning. They've completed 843 work-based learning hours. If I want to quickly see who those 23 students are and how they documented their evidence, I can click here and it shows me the students and their total hours that they've completed. I can also click here and drill into the student evidence and see the actual evidence that they've submitted. I can do the same thing for community service. I can also look at the skills that students have completed and the skills that students in my school are in progress towards completing. You'll notice here, discipline, it says 8 students have completed it and 6 are in progress. And again, if I drill into this, I can go right down and see which students completed discipline and which ones are in progress towards completing it. You'll also see,
If I may
sure.
interrupt. So when we're thinking about progress, somebody had asked, can a student achieve all of the items in one area, such as discipline, in one submission, or can you only check one? And I don't know if we want to hold that question for later if we have time, so Jill can, if we need clarification, on the question.
So I'll try really quickly, and then if I don't understand what the question is, we might have to come back to it later. Is the question basically, can they get full credit for a skill in one submission? Is that the question? Or do you know? Or maybe we should come back to it later.
Yeah, we'll come back to it later.
Okay.
Jill, don't let us forget.
That was what I meant. Can you click all those little boxes like under discipline if they submit one thing?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know if they were just limited to one in each area.
Nope. Those are the look fors. They could hit every look for with one piece of evidence.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep. Good question. Okay, so we were just looking at the skills in progress. If I want to go back here again, the other thing I want to point out is you can see the IRCs that have been completed by students in your school really quickly here as well. Also, it's kind of nice to be able to view a snapshot of the school. It's also really nice to be able to see snapshots of subsets of the school. So like if I'm a school counselor and I'm responsible for A through H, I just go down here under my groups tab. I create a group, class of 2026, A through H, and then I have the kids connect to that group. So then there's ways to kind of like parse through the school set using like this group function, which is very similar to the way Google Classroom works, that allows you to quickly kind of like group students in a certain way and then view the data and make assignments to subsets of students. If I come back here and I look at the progress kids are making towards alignment with opportunities and the progress they're making on the OMJ readiness seal, that you'll see here, it says 36 are in progress and 3 completed. If I click here and I just change this order, now I see the ones that have completed 14 out of 14, see this button that says generate form here. If I click this button, it automatically generates a filled out version of the 3-page PDF that you're responsible for submitting once students have completed the requirements for the seal. You'll notice it's summarizing the evidence that they've committed to reliability. It's checking one of the boxes here. And then if you go down to this page, it's actually providing an audit log of all the evidence that the student submitted that was used for the different skills on the form, and also an audit trail of all the evaluators who evaluated pieces of the student's evidence in order for them to reach completion for all the skills on the seal. Now, this is an editable PDF. You'll need to, or the student will need to fill out some of the other areas here. You'll have to identify which mentor you want to have sign it, and then either have the student print it off and sign it that way, or share the editable PDF in a way that someone can add their initials to the editable PDF. Any questions? Usually there's a question or two about that. Any questions? No.
We do have a question about just registering an account for students. Or do you think we'll have time to cover that today?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
And you're talking about how do kids authenticate?
Yeah, so thinking about students who already have OMJ accounts, do they need to make another one on here? And just how that all works together.
So if students already have OMJ accounts on the K-12 portal, I think I have a slide here that will show you. They actually, here. If you see this, like under the career tabs on the K-12 student portal, the first thing that comes up there is the portfolio, and it's actually integrated with the K-12 portal. So if they already have a K-12 account, all the student needs to do is go into the K-12 site, go under the career tabs, find the portfolio link and click launch portfolio. It'll take them directly into the portfolio platform from there. And then from the portfolio platform, there's a button at the top here that will take them right back to the Ohio Means Jobs K-12 platform. So if your kids are already authenticated through the K-12 platform, then there is a simple integration with that platform. Now, since we're on the topic of authentication, it's not required to go through the K-12 platform to get there. So if you're using it already, or if you want to use it that way, that's great. If you're not interested in doing that, you also have the option of setting up clever Google OHID or email and password authentication for the students in your school. And then you can access the platform directly from app.probata.com. So by all means, the K-12 portal is the ideal way to go if you're already set up that way, or if you want to take advantage of not only Portfolio, but the other things that the K-12 portal offers. And it's integrated to do that. But you also can get to it directly from app.probata.com and authenticate with clever Google or email verification as well.
So somebody had also asked a question, since it's currently not integrated with other platforms like School Links, can students who are logging their work-based learning in Portfolio complete their readiness seal information in School Links? Because I believe School Links also has a readiness seal digital form happening in there. It would just be for those students to copy paste, like they could do it in Portfolio and copy paste or download. I don't know any other ways.
They could
that?
literally like paste these links probably right in there, the links of their evidence. They could take these links and paste them right in. It would redirect to Portfolio. They'd have to have access, or you'd have to have access to actually see the evidence. But yeah, they could probably just do some simple exporting of it by putting the links into the other tool. We can definitely like follow up and learn more about the way that you see that working too, and see what we can do in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Any other questions?
I'm the one asking the questions about School Links. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We just started setting up our School Links because it creates the whole document and allows the kids to email their mentors. And then the mentors verify it, it creates the entire document, so they don't have to print anything out and sign it, and there's no paper involved. Is that something that you're moving towards?
We can definitely talk about it. There aren't a lot of steps missing from what you just described and what we currently do. So let's I'm going to share information. We can catch up offline here and see what we can do.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep. Where are you? What school are you in?
North Royalton.
Oh, awesome. I'm actually in Avon Lake, so we're not that far apart. Any other questions so far?
Nothing else has come up.
Okay, so let's see. We covered evidence documentation through work-based learning. One of the things that you're probably already picking up on this, but just in case you're wondering, like, where are the connections to the school side of documentation? One thing that we're hearing over and over again is that people are trying to find ways to more seamlessly document this workforce readiness component. And as you're aware, the workforce readiness component is a combination of 250 work-based or internship/work-based learning hours and the completion of the OMJ readiness seal. People were pleasantly surprised at how easy it was to actually verify that piece when using this platform, because as you saw during the documentation process, every time a student documents work-based learning hours, they're asked to list at least one OMJ skill. So the number of kids who are basically getting the OMJ skill as a byproduct of documenting their work-based learning is helping people find ways to address that career and workforce readiness component of the high school report card. Other things that people are finding really beneficial to the use of the tool, obviously the OMJ readiness seal and industry recognized credentials that I just mentioned. But people are also finding it very easy to have kids document their community service hours using the same interface, but not checking the work-based learning box to identify, kids who've achieved the local community service seal. And then the student engagement seal is another one that people are finding this a really great tool to collect evidence and document. And as always, any of these things, community service, student engagement, anytime they document that, it's connecting it back to at least one of these OMJ readiness seal skills. So it's all kind of tying the experience together for students around their skills. And then finally, and this just came up again today in a school that I was at, was their students who are qualifying for honors diplomas. They're required to have this field experience in portfolio, a piece documenting their field experience work. And this tool is a very good way for kids to document that field experience and have that portfolio that they're supposed to have in order to demonstrate that part of the honors diploma. So just kind of like connecting some dots for you all as how this tool helps schools manage and meet some of the important state requirements for you and your students. So if there aren't any questions about that, I'm going to actually show you another type of evidence submission from students. And I think I already have this student's already in a group. So pretend for a second that this student just went to Magnet's career exploration day at the Magnet facility in Cleveland, Ohio. And imagine for a second that, and this, you don't have to imagine this, but let's say Magnet set up an activity on the platform that aligns with what kids are doing while they're there for that day. Now this student goes to the event, and at the end of the event is either like given a join code at Magnet and asked to sit down and reflect there, or the join code is sent back to the school and someone at the school is giving the student the join code so that they can actually connect with the assignment that Magnet has created as a reflection tool for the event. Now, sometimes this is happening right at the event. One of the manufacturing companies that was at the Great Lakes Science Center's manufacturing event on Friday used Portfolio to help kids reflect and document on the experience they were having with that company. The kids got the reflection piece and understanding of how what they were doing was connecting them to their skills. The company got immediate feedback on how much kids liked or didn't like the experience, how many kids were more likely to want to learn more about the company. And they didn't get it. They got it anonymously too. So it's not like they got the students' email addresses and a way to directly connect back to the students. They just got the data to help them understand better about the impact that their activity just had. So this student just finished at Monster. They added the join code. I'm not going to put it in because the activity is already here right now. The student clicks on this activity card, and instead of that wide open submit your evidence form that I showed you at the beginning, where you have to click whether it's upload or a website or just a text, this is already like predetermined for the student. And so the student knows by completing this activity, I'm going to be able to demonstrate critical thinking, teamwork, career management, and oral and written communication. What I need to do that is I need to click on these things and actually complete the assignment. So this one is already kind of filled out with gibberish in it because I did this for the demo earlier today. But you'll see it says building competition. How did your participation in this competition allow you to demonstrate critical thinking and teamwork? And then the student, instead of having that wide open thing, they just have a text box where they just text their response in, and they see their response is connected to the skills, critical thinking and teamwork. And they just hit submit. They go right down the list to the next one. What strengths and weaknesses do you have that match up with what you learned today at Magnet? Again, they just type their response in here, hit submit. And then the final one is the question, is after visiting, are you more or less interested in a career in manufacturing? Why or why not? And the student just answers the question here, hit submit task. And then when they're done, They hit submit activity. They rate their experience with Magnet from 1 to 5, and they basically explain why they rated the experience that way. This becomes a piece of evidence that, once verified, will give students some progress towards those particular OMJ skills. It also becomes a piece of evidence that when I come back here as an adult on the platform, either school-based or in this case, Magnet would see this too. You see the activity card, you see the number of students who participated in it, you see their average satisfaction score, and you see the total number of pieces of evidence that have been contributed. Now, Magnet does lots of these things every week with lots of schools. Over time, this number is going to go, up a lot higher in terms of the number that participated. And then the satisfaction score will reflect the total number participated, and they'll know the number of pieces of evidence that they've submitted. You can also hit, and I'll show you, the platform also has an export function. So if I want to export my students' progress data, where'd it go? I click export. I click this button, and it exports a spreadsheet that gives you student by student how many hours of evidence that have been evaluated, how many work-based learning hours, how many community service hours. It does the IRCs, the OMJ readiness, seal completion, and the other things that you've seen us documenting in the platform. So it gives you a way to export the data. You can also do this with the activities. You don't get the students' actual responses. You just get the summary data that you saw on the card for the activity. So you'll know which career cluster the activity was in. You'll know how many students participated, what their satisfaction score was, where the activity took place, when it took place. All data that's not as valuable necessarily to school-based people, because that's not something you're typically asked to report on. But for a third-party intermediary or for a business that's participating in activities, having data around those things is critical for different parts of the operation. So I'm going to stop there again and see where we're at question-wise.
There is a question: does the data sync back to PowerSchool to report earned IRC codes or work-based learning hours?
It does not currently sync back to PowerSchool, so you'd have to use the spreadsheet and then enter it from the spreadsheet over into PowerSchool.
Yeah, it does sync back if a student logs in via OMJ K-12. It does sync back to OMJ K-12 in the administrative tool there. So that's how the data would talk to a different system, would be through OMJ K-12.
And I just pulled up the portal screen for that here. And then once you get into the K-12 admin tool, you can go drill into here, and you can actually drill all the way down into the student level data in the K-12 admin tool.
Yep.
So some of you are probably wondering, like, how do we get started? If you're interested, things to think about: how do you want your kids and adults to authenticate on the platform? We've covered this already, but you can use Clever, Gmail, OHID, email, password are all options for authentication. You just kind of need to think about how you want to do that. You also need to think about, each organization has at least one organizational administrator. That person can approve other educators to access the platform. They can approve the external evaluators that we went over earlier today. And basically, they're the ones managing the organization. You can have as many of those in your organization as you want, but we got to have at least one when we start, so that we can give somebody the authority to approve other educators getting on the platform. And then the other question you want to think about is, do you want some support getting started? Support is available to you at no cost from StartSOLE and through our growing network of users in Ohio. Typically, I would recommend you take advantage of the support getting started, because we can set you up and you can start using the tool. It's not hard to use, but what we found is that the actual business use case, like how do you build an activity that's kids respond to the way that you want them to, or how do you set it up so that you're evaluating evidence in a timely manner? Our team has got a lot of experience helping people implement that in a half hour to an hour with your core team will get you a lot more prepared to implement effectively from the beginning. The other thing that I would say when you're thinking about getting started is I highly recommend, and I didn't say this at the beginning, but I was a high school principal for 13 years in Ohio. And so, I understand what it's like to try to introduce anything new to your school. I highly recommend you think about identifying a couple key people where this is going to really add value and make their lives easier right away, and test it out with them this year as you're starting to kind of like build up your understanding of the way this tool works, so that next year, if you want to roll it out to more people, you've already got some internal capacity built. And again, we can help you think through that if you want some help thinking about the best way to get started. I included a QR code here. If you want to schedule some time with the StartSOLE team, you can scan the QR code and grab a 30-minute time slot with us from the QR code. And if we're running out of available slots too, you can just shoot us an email and we'll open up some more times for you. I guess I kind of already covered this. Any questions about what I said about the early implementation?
Don't see anything in the chat.
Okay. So I will put this, oops, I just messed up the slide. I will put the support. Actually, I'm going to put my email in here for you all. I'm going to let you email me directly if you have any setup requests. So there's my email in the chat. I'll also put the support one in just in case you'd rather go through the typical process. I did it again. The QR code takes you to a Calendly link. This is the Calendly link. So if you don't have the ability to scan a QR code from where you're at and you still want to find some time, there's the link for that. And then there is a nice, I'll show you in a second. There's a nice support site built out. Oops. So the support site, the landing page for the support site looks like this. So if there's something a question you want to ask the support site, you can type your question in here and we'll bring up all the articles that it thinks are related to your question. You can also just go down to one of the roles on here and see things related to student setup and operation. These are all kind of set up with a little narrative piece and then little short video clips for everything on here. So I click on logging in. See, there's a series of videos and things there. So, other than that, I don't know if there's any questions or anything else, Kayla, that.
So yes, we recorded this presentation. So this one will be posted on the Department of Education and Workforce's website. Just if you go to our website and put in Ohio Means Jobs K-12, that landing page is where you'll find some of the support resources that were talked about, as well as this training recording. I would say give us till next week to get that loaded up because it's got to go through our comms and get cleaned up, but it'll be available soon. In terms of a slide deck, I don't think this is more of like everything and all things, and I think Jeff was just kind of plugging and playing based off of the questions and conversation we were having today. So I don't think this one is available for public review. Is that correct, Jeff?
We can update the walking deck that you have already with some of the things that I showed today that aren't in it. So okay. we can update this and you all can have access probably about the same time the video is live.
Yep, that sounds good. So we'll get it posted there as well.
Okay.
And I will reshare where that is on the department's website. So you have a direct link. There you go. All right. Well, if there are no other questions, thank you all for your time. Very excited for this tool. I hope you guys see it as a value added to the work that you're doing with kids, and in the future work that'll be happening with middle grade CTE coming down the pipeline, and just thinking about high quality career exploration and planning for our kids, for Ohio students. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Have a nice night.
Did you want to stay on, Jeff?
Yeah, we'll stop the recording and then
Okay.
we'll pop back in.